Hi, I'm Council President Mary Sohor, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Council Corner. I'm here with my co-host, Vice President Debbie Walker.
Hi, today we have our special guest from Ward 2, Councilman Erik Depalma. Thank you for coming, Erik.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, today we'd like to talk to Erik a little bit about his ward. Erik is the council person for Ward 2. So we'd like to get a little more familiar with his ward and what's going on in that part of Old Bridge.
Erik, can you tell us what geographically your ward encompasses?
Yeah, so Ward 2 is a fairly sizable ward. Right? I mean, when I remember when I moved here, figuring out where the town ends, where the town begins, and all that. So Ward 2 really begins at Matawan, right? So we border Matawan, Route 34, Route 516, all encompasses that, and we actually go all the way to Cottrell Road with the realignment that they did just 2 years ago with the wards. We actually now have Society Hill. Down in through Lake Ridge West, we have Country Place, Yardley Manor, a lot of different homeowners associations, and we actually then go all the way over to Route 9. So one of my only businesses, one of the few businesses that we have in Ward 2 is like where Cafe Luna is, that strip mall right there. So it kind of goes all the way, to meanders around the town.
Yeah, you're very residential. You really
Thanks
are.
for explaining
and spread
that.
out.
Yeah, 'cause people don't really understand where the wards are. Some people don't even really know what ward they're in, so hopefully that'll help them.
Yeah. And we've been talking a lot about recreation, and we were wondering if you could give us a little bit of an overview on recreational opportunities in your ward.
So one of the biggest ones that we have right now is Gike Park, right? So Gike Park is, everyone knows, right next to the high school on Route 516. But one of the great things about Ward 2 now is two of the bigger recreational projects that are happening in town are happening in Ward 2. So Cottrell Farm Park, obviously, will be one of the jewels of the town. Wonderful park. Everyone saw what they did with the farmhouse, the splash park. I was just driving over there. It's going in. It looks beautiful. And then the next biggest thing that's going to happen is the golf course that's happening on the Rose Lamerson track. So we're all looking forward to that. I know I get consistent questions on when is the golf course opening? When am I going to be able to play?
Yeah, the excitement is definitely there. People are very anxious, and rightly so.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a beautiful project when it's completed.
I live very close to there, so I pass by it every day, several times a day, and it's actually beautiful. I've been living there for like 37 years. It was a farm, and I can't believe that used to be a farm. When you look at it now, it's so hilly. It's absolutely beautiful. Can't wait for it to open.
Well, I remember when I moved to Old Bridge 14 or so years ago, there was the big sign that said the future home of the Old Bridge Golf Course. And I remember telling my wife how excited. I was like, oh, there's going to be a golf course not far from my house. I could play golf all the time. And then kind of nothing happened. Obviously the economy kind of got a little wobbly at times. Some things dried up, but now the opportunity for it to be there, a lot of folks are very, very excited, just like myself, to get that opened.
Yeah, so I really think Ward 2 has a lot to offer in terms of recreation. There's also the soccer that you coach.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of different things going on in that ward. It's very exciting. It really, really is.
Can you tell us what makes your ward unique from other wards?
I think, as I said earlier, one of the most unique things that we have is how residential we are. The majority of Ward 2, with the exception of very, very few stores, Cafe Luna and that strip mall over there, is all residential. So we have, all of that without having all of the shopping. Most folks I know will run over to Matawan, they'll run up 516 to go. There's nothing really centralized within Ward 2, which makes it kind of unique of how residential it really is in compared to some of the other wards that we have.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
Yeah, wherever you live in Old Bridge, it's different how you access different roadways, because Old Bridge is such a large community. People don't realize that.
Yeah, and similar to like Ward 1, we have that Matawan mailing address.
Exactly.
I'm trying to convince people that even though your mailing address is Matawan, you live in Old Bridge.
Yeah, it does cause a little confusion, especially in the beginning, because people think, okay, now wait a minute. Where am I? Okay, you're in Old Bridge.
Yes.
But, I know I've met people who said, I live in Matawan. I'm like, no, you live in Old Bridge. Where do you pay your taxes? And they don't realize it.
Yeah, the funny thing is, so I'm friends with a number of teachers, especially in the high school, and one of the teachers was telling me a story. Oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in Matawan. Like, go to Old Bridge High School. You guys live in Matawan. So
Yeah.
it's always trying to get folks to realize mailing addresses, especially folks that aren't from New Jersey,
No.
you got to really get used to. Like, obviously, I think most folks know I grew up in New York. I grew up in Staten Island. Your mailing address was Staten Island.
Yeah.
No matter where you lived,
Yeah.
it was Staten Island. Coming here, I remember getting my first furniture delivery. So I live in a street that has a similar name street in Ward 4. They showed up at Ward 4 because I told them Old Bridge and not Matawan. So the GPS took them to the wrong spot. So
Yeah, no, it is a little daunting in the beginning, but we get through. Definitely.
Well, even though there are 6 wards in Old Bridge, what do you think unites all the people of Old Bridge together?
I think one of the main drivers is the kids and all the kids coming together, because no matter where you live in the town, your children will play sports together. They went to kindergarten or preschool together. Like, I know, for instance, I have 2 young daughters. I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old. They play soccer. They swim on the YMCA team. So there's a lot of their friends and kids that they hang out with aren't just in one ward. They're all over the place. And even they go to the McDivitt school. Their friends aren't only in my ward, right? Especially as McDivitt has grown over time. Now you have everyone, so that's kind of what's uniting everyone. It's like family, friends, everyone kind of coming together, no matter where you live in the town.
Yeah, once you move into the middle school and the high school,
Yes.
everyone comes together.
Yes, and my daughter
So
is dreading the
you
middle
meet-
school experience, going into 6th grade. So.
Yeah, that's a toughie. You're always filled with a lot
Yes.
of angst about that kind of move up. But all of a sudden you're a little fish, in a
Yes.
big pond. So it's different. It is a little different. But I think you're right. I think the children and families, we always stress that. I think that ties us all together.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about that this morning when I moved here. My son was in 2nd grade, and that's what helped me get into the community by belonging to all activities that he did. He was doing soccer, baseball, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, the school, the PTA, and that's how you make friends. And it's all about family.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, my children were born and raised here, all 3 of them. So for me, it was a really, a home. This is home.
Yes.
And I just think it does. And I think all the volunteers in all the wards come together, whether, like you say, you're coaching or you're volunteering for fire, or it's a very, very tight-knit community for a large community. It's very close, I think. I feel that way.
I think for the number of people that are in the town,
Right.
so we're at 60, almost 70,000 people. It doesn't feel like a 70,000 person. So I mean, we have a very large footprint, right? We have Old Bridge it goes from like Spotswood to the water and back. It's a very, very big community, but 60 to 70,000 people is a lot of people to be in the town, and it doesn't seem that way.
No, it has a small town feel.
Yes.
It definitely does.
It really does, and I think people enjoy that. And I really do think that each ward has its good things going on, but I think we do come together as a community.
What do you think attracts people to move to Old Bridge?
I think it's what attracted my wife and I when we first moved out here before we had kids. I just think it's a family-friendly environment. The schools are very good. Close proximity to everything. I mean, as a financial services professional, I have to go either into Jersey City, Weehawken, Manhattan, whatever it is, wherever anyone works at the given time. Easy access to transit, easy access to shopping all through the Route 9 corridor, Route 34 corridor. You can get down to the beach. So there's so many different dynamics and for those who grew up in New York, very quick to get back to New York, right?
Visit family
Yes.
and friends.
So your family and friends can come, and I think that environment has kind of attracted
lot of
folks to come out here because it is such a great place to live.
And it's safe here.
I think safety has a big
Yeah,
thing to
yeah,
do with
I
it's a
believe
safe
so,
because
too.
that's what people want for their families.
Yes.
Right.
No, it's a safe community. The schools are good.
A lot of positive.
Yes.
Yes.
Really, very much.
There
so.
has to be a reason why everyone's moving here, and home values have gone up tremendously.
Oh, absolutely. My wife and I have talked about it many a times of how she wants to stay here, raise the kids here. My daughter thinks that she's getting the house. We'll see how that
Well,
works.
you have 2.
Well, we'll see how that works in 20-something years. But even my daughter at 11 years old, she doesn't want to go because she does love it
empty
here.
nesters like ourselves. I mean, really, we're still here.
It's
We
still
enjoy
home
it.
to me,
Yeah.
and it'll always be home.
Yeah, and one of the things too, you see how many people have grown up here and their parents are still here.
Yeah.
There's so many folks that do not leave the area because
No.
they love being here. Their parents are still here. Their parents don't even want to go into an
Right.
over
That's
55
what I'm
or something
saying.
yet, like my
Right.
parents did.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's what's great. It's just this very big family feel. There's so many folks that know each other for. I've seen multiple generations of families that have known each other that are here. So I think that's one of the drivers of getting folks here. And obviously, safety is always paramount in getting folks to kind of come in and want to be in a community and want to stay in a community.
Yeah, very much so. Well, thank you for your
No,
thoughts.
thank you
It's
very much for
Thank you
having
so
me. I
much for
appreciate it.
coming.
It was great having you.
Yes, thank you.
And everyone, thank you very much for watching. And hopefully, we will be back soon again with another episode of Council Corner.
Thank you for joining us.